and welcome to the Fulhamish quick take after our 2-0 home win against Tottenham Hotspur at the Cottage. I'm Elizabeth Barnard and I am delighted to be joined by Mr. Dan Cook for this one. Dan, how are you feeling?
I am feeling so good, and I think about 70 minutes into that game I didn't expect to feel this good, so it makes it feel even better.
Yeah, I think I can speak for both of us now, where I can say it's going to be quite a giddy one.
I'm feeling silly.
Yeah, I'm feeling silly. We've got a silly night ahead of us, lots of celebrating to do. But let's bring us back to 12:15 p.m. when the lineups drop, and we realise, praise the Lord, that we're back to a 4 at the back, and very interesting start for Willian. What did you make of the lineup when it dropped?
I was okay with it. I agree. Happy that we went to a 4. Felt like the right decision. My hesitancy was seeing Pereira and Smith Rowe in the same team in the middle again. Going back to that gave me sort of flashbacks to poor performances when the two of them would play together. I think I was happy to see Willian. I was a bit unsure, but every time he's played, I think he's looked fairly good, and I thought he did really well today. He got a bit leggy towards the end, but I thought he played really well, looked really smart. He took a little bit of time to get going, which I think is understandable, again, rusty. But as that sort of second half wore on, he started to grow in influence, and I think he was fairly pivotal to that win in the end.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, actually. When he came back to the club at the end of Jan, I was a little bit nervous. I like the nostalgia signing, but I thought it feels like we haven't properly done our research and he's not going to cut it. But the first half, I thought, was a tale of like what we've had as Fulham for what feels like every home game against teams that are poorer than us this season. And calling Spurs poorer than us is just factually correct this season, considering where we both are at the table. And we never really carved out anything properly. How are you feeling heading into half time?
I thought it was a bit of a missed opportunity because I thought Spurs looked awful. I personally thought we played okay. I thought there was a lot that was really good in that first half, but unfortunately all of the good play was in our own third and the middle third, and it was the final third which has been the problem a lot this season, where I thought we let ourselves down. But in terms of like how Fulham played, I thought there was a lot of nice stuff. I thought Sander Berge patrolled beautifully, I think, across the entire game, and I really want to give him his props. I thought Andres Pereira was fantastic. I thought he was superb and the difference maker really today. For me, whilst we'll come on to Rodrigo Muniz and he was maybe the most impactful player, I think Andres Pereira was the best player across the entire game, and that is a fantastic thing to be able to say. So, yeah, first off, it felt like a missed opportunity because Spurs had moved players out of this team. They'd rested some key players. They were on the bench. We knew they were primed and ready to come on if needed, and I felt vindicated for that feeling of what if, when you see at half-time, they bring Son and Bergvall on. That moment then, I was like, I think we might have let this ship sail. We should be 1-0 up here and it would have been a different game.
Yeah, it feels like we've experienced that a lot this season, where we just haven't been able to capitalise on good first half. Like Wolves is the obvious one that springs to mind. But Southampton, Ipswich, all those kind of games where we have been better. Manchester United at home. I thought, like, across the pitch, I agree with you. I thought Pereira was incredibly impressive. Every time I see Berger, I'm bowled over by him. We're going to move on to the second half pretty much immediately, but I'd just say I don't think Smith Rowe had his best game either. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And again, it's getting a bit tricky, isn't it? Because I'm seeing fans get quite angry and agitated at his performances, and again, his confidence just keeps on getting lower and lower. That's a real problem. I think that it was summed up by that shot he had from the edge of the box, which was very awkward. It fell sort of on the half volley, Shapes to hit it with his weaker foot, but it goes so badly wrong that for a player that seems so up and down in Smith Rowe, those sort of moments, I think, completely floor him at the moment, which he needs to work on that. He can't lose all of his confidence when one thing doesn't quite go well. But it was the same issue again today. I thought he was safe in possession. There's a couple of times you're like, this turn, drive, play a pass, and it would just be one touch, roll it back to Joachim Andersen, to Calvin Bassey. There's no spark there. There's no thrill. And for the second week in a row, I think Andres Pereira has outperformed him and is making a much better claim to be in that more advanced role.
I completely agree with you. On to happier topics. So I didn't think Raul Jimenez had his most impactful game. I didn't think he was particularly poor, but, he came off. Rodrigo Muniz comes on. And then there is a moment of magic. Talk me through the first goal and talk me through Muniz's impact when he came off the bench.
This was the Rodrigo Muniz bring the positive chaos. This is like, you know you're getting chaos. You're not always sure whether it's going to go in your favour or not. But today, it was like a positive and a controlled one. He came in, bullying a China shot, but with so much intention, and everything he tried to do came off. He held the ball up brilliantly. He flicked it on well, and I think it's a lovely finish. I do need to watch it back because it does roll very slowly into the far corner, which makes me think he might have scuffed it slightly. But being behind it, as I know you are as well, behind that goal at the Hammersmith end, as the ball is travelling, it becomes really evident that even though it's creeping, it's going in. There's nothing that Vicario can do. And I feel like the celebration started before the ball even hit the net. And again, props to Andres Pereira. I thought it was such a smart, in that moment, when the ball lands at his feet in the box, I think it's very easy for someone just to swing a leg at it, to have a little pot shot. But he takes a touch and then just pauses and rolls it at a lovely pace, lovely weight. It's a very simple pass, but I think it's more the idea that he had it to roll that off to Rodrigo Muniz, and then, the rest is all Roddy. I think the thing that I will say that I think has really benefited Fulham here is I have no idea what Ange Postecoglou is doing in that second half. I think that substitution for Maddison coming on for Christian Romero and pushing Archie Gray to centre-back is as bad as it can get, as like a negative, impactful substitution. I would understand it maybe if that substitution happened and then Fulham spotted an opportunity to bring Rodrigo Muniz on and be a bully. He was already on the pitch. We already had an absolute monster up top ready to fight, and you slip Archie Gray, slight as anything, into that right centre-back slot, and he just bullied him. It was wonderful to see, but Ben Davies and Archie Gray got the run around in those 25 minutes, and I think Postecoglou has to take a lot of flack for that, because I know he has to rest Christian Romero, and he needs to keep his players fresh. But you're going into an international break. You've got games to win. It's benefited Fulham so much, but I cannot find a reason why he's made that substitution.
I absolutely agree with you. And obviously the headline substitution of bringing off your best centre-back to bring on James Maddison, I was so baffled. But there's been some chat. We're not a Spurs podcast, so we won't go into it. But there has been quite a lot of chat about, is this the end of the road for Ange? I don't think so. They're still in the Europa League. But I wouldn't be shocked, because I thought his game management today was appalling. Right, shall we come on to it? I come on to the best moment of my life. No, I'm joking. That was when Ryan Sessegnon got the opener at Wolves. I had joked with the lad sat next to me, lovely guy, we were chatting about it, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if Sess came on, scored the winner, oh, wouldn't that be great? And then when he came on, the guy was like, look, come on. I was like, yeah. And then I actually don't have the words. I'm speechless. So speak for me, Dan. Tell me about that beautiful goal from Ryan Sessegnon.
It came out of nowhere, right? It's like this big hoofed ball upfield, and when you first look at it, I sort of was like, there's nothing. Rodrigo Muniz isn't going to be able to challenge for that one. It's a bit of a wasted hoof, and then you just see Sess start chasing it down, and Ben Davies starts to panic, and you think, oh, come on, he's not, is he? He's not. Oh, he's outmuscled him. Oh, he's done him. He's on. Oh, hang on, he's on his right foot. This isn't where I want Sess. I don't want him on his. Oh, he's just bent it far post. And the celebration, because obviously he does that whole, they're very respectful, not celebrating his old club. But what it looks like is he's just nonchalantly whipped the ball into the far post and just stood in front of the Hammersmith end and just taken all of the adulation. That is such an iconic Fulham moment. The whole Hammersmith end just rising to Sess, and then you get the celebrations, and then again the last portrayal of love from us as fans as Kearney grabs Sess and just shunts him in front of the Hammersmith end to receive that love. That is a wonderful moment.
Tears in my eyes, you talking about it. Yeah, I will remember that for a long time. Obviously, it feels like a blur now. I haven't watched it back. I will watch it back 1,000,000 times before the end of the weekend. And Spurs don't trouble us the rest of the game, really. Obviously, there are a few moments where Leno stands up, but to be honest, I can't think of anything of note that they created.
They did a very, I think, a thing that I mean, every team sees their team do this, but very Fulham in the way that when it went 1-0, I thought Spurs just looked like they folded. It looked like it just sucked everything out of them. I thought they played okay in that second half. I thought Lucas Bergvall looked really good. He was causing us problems. I thought Matthias Tell played well, but again, Ange took him off. And when you go 1-0 up, I think Fulham, that just smelt that blood. I think Marco Silva smelt it. Ordinarily, I think you would maybe have seen Issa Diop come on at some point because it's a late goal to put us 1-0 up. They just saw the weakness. They saw that this team was flawed, and actually, let's just keep going. Let's gun. We can score 2, and we could have scored 3. We could have scored 4. We just walked all over them in those last 15 minutes, and yeah, I'd be fuming if I was a Spurs fan.
Me too, but thankfully we got the right crest on our chest today. This leaves Fulham, I believe, in 8th. Which is pretty magic. We're not gonna have the Europe conversation. I'm putting my foot down. But what I'll say, just like, what a time to be a Fulham fan. And up next, Crystal Palace in the Cup. You excited for that one, Dan?
This is the sort of game that makes you excited for it, isn't it? This is like the perfect preview. The only disappointment is we've got to wait so long for this game to now happen. Games like this make you wish it was like tomorrow. Like, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll go out, we'll play tomorrow, and we'll win again because we're just like fizzing now. But so that wait is going to be agony, but it's exactly what we need, right? A performance that results in a win at home, where we have struggled this season, and we were able to take it to a team who maybe looked to sit off us a bit at times. These are the positive things that, again, we just need to drag them into that Crystal Palace game as well. And there'll be lots of preview of it, but I think it's a coin flip of a game. I think it's a pure 50-50 game. Both teams are capable of winning it, but at least we go into it with a really lovely bit of momentum now. And Palace have actually got to wait ages because they don't play this weekend, and I think that works in our favour.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, that's all we have time for on the Quick Take today. Feeling pretty giddy. We got someone whooping us in the background because we've delivered such a stonking one. Dan, thank you so much for joining me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and yeah, just drink it in. Just enjoy this time being a Fulham fan. It's really magic.
And thank you so much for watching Quick Take. Please leave your comments about what you made of the game, how you felt when that Ryan Sessegnon goal went in. And we will see you soon. Come on, you Whites.
You Whites!